Welcome to Love Life After, where we embark on the beautiful journey of love, life, and resilience. I am Christelle, your host and friend on this exploration. Whether you're joining us for the first time or you're a cherished member of our family, thank you for being here. On this podcast, we'll share personal tales of triumph, heartache, and the incredible transformation that unfold after every challenge. So grab your favorite glass of wine, cup of tea, or coffee and find a cozy spot and let's dive into this magic of love, life, and everything that happens after the obstacle. And remember, your story is our inspiration, and together we'll navigate this journey ahead.
Baby, you're my coat. She got me feeling like a dope fiend. I'm addicted to a black queen. Baby, you're my coat. She got me feeling like a dope fiend. I'm addicted to a black queen.
So, welcome back to Love Life After podcast, where we dive into life's challenges, self discovery, and finding joy after the struggle. I'm your host, Christelle, and joining me today is Coach Bell Rice. And today we are going to be talking a little different, more so, like specifically on how to break free from debt, building health, and create financial freedom. So, my guest today is the incredible Bernadette Joy, a first generation Filipino American who went from $300,000 in debt to first millionaire in net worth, all before her 40. So I'm gonna go ahead and introduce herself, and then we're gonna go ahead and dive right in.
Hello, everybody. I am Bernadette Joy. I am coming to you live from Charlotte, North Carolina. And I love that folks refer to Belinda as Coach Bell. People like to refer to me as Auntie B,
Okay.
since I like to be everyone's rich auntie and share with you all the secrets on how you can become financially independent and healthy, particularly as a woman of color. And I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Let me just say, I'm excited that you're here because I was reading your book and I was like, oh my gosh, like, why didn't nobody tell me this before? So if you if you out there, you're listening, if you ever felt stuck financially or just like unsure where to start as far as saving money or how to be debt free, I promise you this episode is for you. So listen, share, make sure you let everybody know if they want to be financially free like Bernadette did. So I know like for many of us money can be feel overwhelming, whether it's like saving or even debt, right? So how do someone went from being that amount in debt to becoming a millionaire?
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say this to my own hurt, a debt-free millionaire, right?
Debt-free
There's
millionaire.
millionaires out in the world, but in terms of having zero debt to your name is kind of a different type of millionaire. And so I will say this. I was so excited to be in your podcast because I love your mantra of loving life after any obstacles. And for me, I felt like I had several obstacles that was making me not love my life back then. So 2016, now I can't believe it's 10 years basically since that. I was $300,000 in debt, including $72,000 of student loans from a degree that I realized probably not what I thought it was going to do for me in terms of building my career. My husband and I were still kind of in our newlywed phase at the time, but we both found ourselves really stressed out and just trying to keep up with the Joneses and feeling like even though we both had decent jobs and we were both, educated and we did everything our parents told us to do, then why are we still feeling like we are struggling every day? And then back then, I didn't share it very much until very recently, but I felt more open to share this. But I was having some significant health and mental wellness struggles, and so I have a kind of pre-existing condition. One with kind of kidney kind of challenges that runs in my family, and then also I just have eczema, but it was really impacting my life back then. If you see pictures of me from 2016, my face was literally like bright red every day. So much so that now I'm on a medication that, if it weren't for insurance, it would cost me $2,000 per month, right? So I say all that to say that not only was I $300,000 of debt, but I was like, I felt broke. I was burned out. I was arguing with my husband. Like, there was just a lot of stuff that was going on back then that when I look back 10 years now, I'm just like, well, that was a completely different person. So to your question of like, how does someone go from $300,000 of debt to then becoming a debt-free millionaire? It was literally, some people say, oh, what was your wake-up moment? I had a true moment of just like, I am done with this life. I'm not doing this anymore. Everyone else says that this is what life is supposed to be like. Well, let me give my best shot on trying something different. And worst case scenario, I'll be back where I started.
Right.
So there was a specific moment in January 2016 when I was 10 weeks away from graduation from my MBA program that got me all those student loans. When I realized how much debt I had gotten into and really having no clear plan on how to pay it off, was that I decided that I was going to give my best shot to at least work on paying off the debt. At the time, I did not have any vision of becoming wealthy or a millionaire. I just wanted to feel like I could get by every day. And so I started out with taking small steps towards my debt.
Yeah, I made some notes here. I love it. So how she really got started, you could correct me if I'm wrong, how you really got started. You said, I'm done with this life. So you had a mindset shift. And that's really where it starts. You have to let yourself know. You also said, I decided. So your mind was ready. There was no going back, and failure was not an option. And that's definitely a millionaire mindset.
Thank you. And I would say, we use the term mindset a lot. And I would love to say that, oh, I was just so strong-willed or whatever back then. But I think, I finally hit a certain breaking point. And what I've noticed for a lot of other, particularly women, is they're past that breaking point and they still keep going. Like, if you think about, just what even happened in the last couple of years with the pandemic and with the economy and with politics, right? Like, many women have been hit past their breaking point and they still keep going thinking that this is the answer versus saying, let me try something different. And if it doesn't work out, and I tell people all the time, oh, if I try to pay off this debt and for some reason, I should have invested first or I regret paying off this debt, guess what? It is very easy to just go back to that debt for life. I can just go back into debt if I really want to. So let me give a shot at becoming debt-free first and see how that goes.
Yeah. Pretty much cover almost all of them in what you just shared. But I was reading your book. One thing I wanted to say was in one of the pages, you said comparing to the wrong success stories. So I was reading that chapter where did you ever like compare yourself to other people, like saying, okay, I wish I was like them, or I wish I didn't have so how did that affect your mindset going from, we're not necessarily broke, but I have all this debt and I want to be able to like be debt free. Were you comparing yourself to people a lot? Was that like, did that play any role in the fact? Okay, it did.
All the time. I mean, so as you mentioned earlier, I'm first generation Filipino American, and we Filipinos love to look around and see what everyone else is wearing, and how big everyone's house is, and how successful their kids are. And I even remember as a kid growing up, I always felt self-conscious about the fact that all of my parents' Filipino friends, like they all went to private school and I went to public school, and Filipinos are very big on like Catholic school and stuff. And so like my parents didn't send me to Catholic school; they sent me to like a regular public school, and it's just like I felt like the public school kid in that group. And then going into adulthood, or even into like my early adulthood, of just I went to a very competitive high school, and we were literally ranked on where we were. Like we knew who was number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And I remember being in high school, and the rankings came out, and I was in like the top 10%, and people were like, "Really?" Because we thought you were dumb this whole time. Because I had people who were just like, "Oh, like we just thought that you would play sports, or like that you just, maybe because I was like bubbly or whatever, that they didn't think that I actually studied, or And so I remember early on, people like casting judgment just based off of like my personality or who they thought I was, and then coming into post-college, you know, comparing with your friends with like who's going where, what company are you working at, and like how much money do you make, and like what kind of clothes do you wear to work. I mean, that was just very normal, I think, for me, and maybe that's relatable for a lot of other people, especially for me growing up in New York City. I feel like New York City is a place where people will judge you by the cover. So that really affected my mental health more so than I realized. It physically got me sick. I ended up going to the hospital to have like an emergency kidney stone removal because my kidney stone had gotten so big that it had to be surgically removed from my body, because I was just like, I have to work harder than everybody else. I have to be better than everyone else. I have to make sure that this job that was given to me by this shiny company, that I don't lose my job and that I stay here and make a lot of money. So I say that all in that, you know, I was very much concerned about what other people thought about me. Even though a lot of people would have looked at me back then and say, wow, she's really confident and she has all her stuff together and she probably makes good money because she works at this company. Inside, I was dying.
Because stress is all about, you know, trying to manage that stress, because it can be stressful, because we all talk about, oh, we want to be debt free, but we don't really know what it entails, right? So we just go and be like, oh, I want to be debt free and I'm trying. And I know you actually did it. So how can someone go from wanting to, okay, I guess the question, what I'm trying to say is, how does someone start investing if they feel intimidated by the process?
So let's kind of marry those things. I am very much in the strong camp of like, if you are deep in debt, you should not be investing into traditional investments. Paying off your debt is investing.
Yes.
You're paying off things.
I'm just so glad you said that. I'm sorry to come that way. I just got so excited about saying that, because I literally just told a friend of mine yesterday. I said, why do you want to invest and you in so much debt? Because she was trying to invest into some property that someone told her she should. But I was like, well, are you in debt? She said yes. And only because I read that in here. So yeah, I'm just so... I'm glad I was able to like tell her that, but I don't think her mindset yet is where it needs to be, because her goal is to invest. So, and then you could correct me if you think I'm wrong. Invest, make the money from the investment and use it to pay off her debt. And my response to her was, what if you pay off your debt first and then maybe save 50% of your income and then use that towards, you know, investing?
Yeah. So, well, I love that you read the book and you're already telling your friends about what you're reading. And again, like everyone's opinions about personal finance is different. People should just take the stock of like where my opinions come from is me having personally paid off the $300,000 of debt, and now I'm crossing over $2 million of net worth this year, not one, right?
Wow.
In the span of 8 years, right? So take that for what you will. Again, as a first-generation Philippine American, I got zero inheritances, right? So when I talk about paying off debt versus investing, the way that I think most people are getting messed up on, and if you think about it, it is because it's sexier to say, hey, I'm an investor versus, oh, I'm paying off debt right now. Nobody wants to admit that they're paying off debt right now because that makes them sound like whatever type of way. Versus saying, oh, yeah, I have properties. Oh, I have this. I have that. Good for you. That's all great. But this is why I tell people, like, not only am I a millionaire, I'm a debt-free millionaire, right? I don't owe anybody anything, right? So the reason that I talk about this specifically when it comes to behavior and loving your life is, I promise you, it is a lot easier to love your life when you don't owe people money.
Right.
And you don't owe people time and energy and you're worried about paying your bills, right? So when I specifically say to people, you need to pay off all of your debt, with the exception of your mortgage perhaps, but every other debt before you go into any sort of risky investment, and every investment is a risk. There is no 100% guarantee investment, right? Is debt should be a short-term solution, right? You should be done with debt at some point in your life. Most people are treating debt as a long-term lifestyle, and that's not how it should be if you actually want to be financially independent, which is why I tell people I teach independence. I don't teach financial literacy. I teach people how to be free on your own accord and use your time and energy the way that you want to. Investing, on the other hand, is a long-term lifestyle. If you want to be a great investor, you invest for the long term. It is much harder to invest for the long term when you create more risk in your life by having debt. And specifically, I'm going to call out specifically credit card debt recently. I have had a lot of clients who've been coming to me with credit card debt that are costing them 20-25% in interest. There is no investment that you're going to get as a regular investor in the stock market, in real estate, or whatever, that's going to earn you more than 25%.
Okay, that makes sense.
Even accredited investors, meaning people who have like $1 million in net worth, a decent return is 20 to 25%. And that's for someone who can afford to invest as a millionaire.
I did not know that.
Right? So the math does not math. Even if you take aside, the looks of it and whatever, and wanting to say that you're successful, the math does not math for the vast majority of people to be investing when they need to pay off their debt first.
Crystal Clear Services LLC offers various services for your home needs. Services include and are not limited to handyman services, fences, decks, HVAC, electrical, plumbing, painting, power washing, cleaning, roofing, siding, flooring, and all your home improvement needs. Make sure you visit HireCrystalClear.com and request a free quote today.
Wow. I had to take that in.
So many notes. I feel like I'm classes in session. Come on now. I'm excited.
Wow.
This information you guys are listening to is expensive information. You guys don't take it for granted now.
Okay, and I also want to say you did define, like, I just like kind of bookmark all of my favorite pages in the book. I want to read this real quick. It said your intention to keep through your trials and error is that you are learning to let your habit control your money instead of letting your money control your life. I really like that. And on that page too, you kind of like break down what in acronym, like crush means. Y'all have to get the book if y'all want to see what it means, because I'm not going to read all this to y'all. But I just want to say, like, Coach Bell was saying earlier that it's a mindset, right? So you have to be in the right mindset and ready to actually be able to be where you are. I'm on a journey hoping to get to where you are right now. So how do one start their journey to getting where you are right now?
I would say specifically in this point of time, the day that we're recording, is the first step that I tell people, and it's actually the Seeing Fresh, which is secure your accounts, is you just got to get your stuff together. Like, you just have to know exactly what you have on hand. When people ask me, for example, like, I kind of test people who are coming to my programs, people always ask me, well, what should I invest in? I'm like, well, what's your net worth? And if they can't answer that question, then you should not be investing. So you need to go and figure out all of your assets, all of your debts, add it up, put it in a place where you can update it regularly. And at any point in time, someone should be able to ask you, well, what's your net worth today? If you can't answer that question within 5 seconds, that is a problem.
Okay.
Right? So, like, I'm doing it right now. Like, as we speak, if someone were to ask me, what is my net worth? I'm pulling it up on my app. I use Monarch Money, and today my net worth is $1.939 million. Okay?
Ooh.
But what does it require for me to know that number? I need to have my stuff together.
Right.
I need to know where all my bank accounts are. I need to know that none of them are bleeding out money in taxes and interest. I need to know what exactly I have control over before I start saying, oh, but what about the stock market? What about the economy? What about what I have within my control? Right. And that is also a mindset shift, because there are so many people. I get this all the time, and I feel like we're in a safe space here because I love, like, the vibe of your podcast and everything that we talked about before we got on this. Is that on a daily basis, I get at least a comment every day of someone on the internet who looks at my stuff and they're like, but the average person can't afford to do this, or the average person can't do this, and like, you're unrelatable because X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, good. good, because ain't nobody here trying to be average.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be average? Go follow somebody else. That's not what I'm trying to do over here. And that's not to say that if you are living an average life that there's something wrong with you.
Mm-hmm.
But what I say to people in terms of like real mindset shift is you have two choices, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can either, if you don't like your life right now, you can either choose to change it
Mm-hmm.
and start taking some action. And in my opinion, taking control of your finances is the number one thing you can do to change the trajectory of your finances, of your life. Because changing my finances changed my marriage. It changed my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
My face is not red every day anymore. So money did help me get there to a certain extent. But if you don't want to do that stuff, that is okay.
Mm-hmm.
You're allowed to say, you know what, that's fine. But then you have to accept the life that you chose.
And you can't complain either.
And that's the thing. The sweet spot that people seem to be living in right now is like, I don't like my life, and I'm going to complain about it. Oh, and I'm going to project that to other people who are doing the things that they want to do. And I can show you a dozen comments I got this week of people just being like, oh, no, I don't like the way you talk. I don't like the way you do this. I don't like you. I'm like, you know how much time you know how much more progress you could have made in your own life about like dissecting your own habits versus coming at me or other people who are actually doing that. So I'm really grateful for your platform and for you sharing these messages to say you can absolutely change your life if you choose to. And I wrote an entire playbook that gives you step by step on how you can do that. If you don't want to do that, that is totally okay. But you cannot come back and say and complain about that your life hasn't changed.
One other thing I did like about you when we were at the meeting over at PodFest was that you were not sugarcoating anything, and you was very like blunt. And you say people call it what, brag. I remember bragging, but it's not bragging. But it's okay if it is bragging, because this is your self-promotion. Yes, which I love, because Coach Bell is actually trying to tell me that I need to start self-promoting myself. And that's something that I struggle with so much. So just listening to you there and listening to a lot of other people there, it just really motivated me to be able to like, okay, you know what, just because you like sharing what's going on with yourself, it's not bragging. It's about what, like you said, self-promoting and just sharing what you know to be able to get wherever you want to get in life. Because at least I don't want a mediocre life, and that's not where I'm set to be. So I want to be at the highest where I can get. So shifting mindset, and we always talk about mindset, but a lot of people talk really good about it, but they don't really do anything about it. So yes, like you said, if you do want to be where you want to be, you have to be willing to do the work. You got to put the work in so you could get to where you want to be. So I'm like really grateful for you. I appreciate you for like sharing. I know Coach Bell has some questions for you too as well. And then we could go where people could like, find you, and because you are a coach. She is a coach too as well. So she coached people to be financially free of debt.
Yeah. So I don't necessarily coach people to be financially free of debt, right?
No, I was saying Bernadette. I was talking about Bernadette.
Okay. No, but I think I was going to get to this. I coach people to, just as she was saying, it starts with your mindset, right? And it's so interesting because I was over here dying to ask you this question. The mindset sometimes, that's the awareness. You become aware that you have to change something, you decide. But to you, how important would you say that reaching out to a mentor or a coach can really help you along the way? And did you have a mentor or a coach?
So it's interesting. I haven't had a mentor in a really long time, and I tried to figure out why, because I was just in an accelerator program myself recently where I was assigned a mentor, and my immediate thought was like, and then I met her, and she's the most amazing person ever, and I'm so excited to have her. And I realized that my hang up against having a mentor in the past was that my only exposure to mentorship before were these like formal mentor programs where like they like awkwardly match you with someone and you have to keep going out for coffee and you don't really know what you're here for and all of that. And so I realized when you have a mentor, I do think there should be, whether it's a mentor or a coach, there should be like a beginning, middle, and end to it versus this like, oh, we're just like keep going until like it becomes awkward. And so I really advocate for people to have a coach in a specific area of their life. I'm not really a strong proponent, and this is like, this is like a hot take on it. I'm not a strong proponent on like people who kind of bill as like overall life coaches, simply because everyone's life is different, and for someone to say like, oh, I know how you live your best life is a very hard sell for me. But having a health coach, having a business coach, having a money coach, which is what I am, to say, okay, we're working in this specific subset of your life, and there's a beginning, middle, and end to it. That to me feels really good, and that's where the book came from. The book was the aggregate of all of these. Like, I've had hundreds of people who I've coached now at this point, and I found like the things that were common across all of those people, despite all of their backgrounds. And so for me, I am finding that even as a money coach myself, I felt like I was lacking in having a coach that I really thought was in my corner, and it was only until recently that I got a mentor myself, but she's specifically in the area of helping me scale back my life. Meaning, like, I'm turning 40 in a couple of weeks. I'm getting ready to retire early. She's 72, and she's like been retired for like 20 years. And I'm like, oh my gosh, tell me all the secrets on how you still look so young, and you still like look happy, and you're still in the community helping people, and you're not worried about money. So she's really coaching me in that aspect. Versus like before, I always thought that coaching was just for like business or money or other things. I think there's definitely value in having a mentor who emulates what you want to do in a specific area of your life.
Did that answer your question?
Yes. No, I'm glad she said that, because a lot of people think that just deciding I'm going to do something without really having the right, coaches, the right books, the right information is going to get them so much, further. But once you decide, you have to invest in yourself. So you have to invest in the books. You have to invest in the coaching session so that you can get the knowledge from people who've already done the work. She didn't become a millionaire by just sitting there. I'm sure it was a lot of work, a lot of, mindset shift, changing, and a lot of just life changes, period. Right. But you go to a coach, you're able to get that information to really put you into action, not just talking, going from talking to action.
That's exactly right. And how I structure my own coaching, which is like, again, not everybody's cup of tea, is I have like people have the kind of extended version of the book. The book is like, I'm so glad it exists now for people who can't afford to do like higher ticket level kind of coaching. Like, now you can get everything out of my brain. One of the best aspects of writing the book was like, I don't have to pick your brain sessions anymore, because you can just literally buy the book. Everything is in there. But what I do with my clients is there's agreed upon deliverables that they have to do before they come into coaching session. They have to get their network together. They have to try a budget at least twice. They have to go through a series of lessons before we get into the coaching session. And if they don't do it, it sounds harsh, but I cancel the meeting.
I like that. I like that.
And a lot of people, like a lot of other coaches, won't do that because they're like, oh, well, I should just spend keep trading my time for dollars. Or like, if someone's paying me a lot of money and they come into a session and they're unprepared, it's their fault, right? And I actually am of the mindset of like, as a coach, like if you think about a sport, like any coach in a sport isn't going to be like, oh yeah, you have to show up here, but I'm not going to teach you drills. I'm not going to teach you like how to bounce a basketball. Like, you're just going to have to figure it out on your own and then like play the game. Like, that's not how that works. And I think the same thing with money, where I have to give people a framework that I know works, which is Crush. And yes, it's their choice to decide whether or not they're going to do it. But once they do it, once we get into the coaching session, now we're talking about real stuff. Now we're talking about stuff that you can't just chat GPT. Right? Now when we're talking about your specific circumstances, because and I'm saying this to everyone who's listening, is if you want to be coached, you have to show up as someone who is coachable. And coachable means you show up on time. You show up and you've done your homework assignments. Like, I'm going to give you kind of a prime example today, is that someone from Hotfest signed up for a coaching session or signed up for a session with me, and then they show up 15 minutes late, and then they get into the meeting, and it's only a 30-minute meeting, right? was, well, how do I get started? And I'm like, started on what? And it's like, well, how do I get started on like becoming a millionaire, basically? And I'm like, did you read the book? It's been a couple of weeks now, right, since podcast. I'm like, did you even attempt to read the book? Did you? And they're like, oh, well, I thought you were going to send it to me. I'm like, so you couldn't Google the book, right? And I'm saying that in the sense of like, I'm not like trying to say, oh, this person's a bad person or anything, but like, she had a millionaire to ask the right questions. She had an opportunity to ask a millionaire better questions than how do I get started. And if she had read the book, then she'd be like, oh, you know what? I realized my accounts are all messed up. Like, here are my accounts. Like, what do I do now? She could have asked, like, a better question. Right. So I'm saying that for everyone who's listening here is that actually the magic in being very coachable is asking the right questions.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. I've had people not show up to coaching sessions because they couldn't look up the time zone. Yeah. But my coaching methods, the way I do it is I'll meet you the first coaching session and I'll give you assignments. I'll give you homework. If you don't complete it, book another session. Yeah. Because I don't want to waste my time. And if you're not prepared, you're just going to sit there and literally do that. Waste my time in your own time. You're not going to be able to grow that way. So I appreciate you saying that, you know, you've canceled sessions or you refuse sessions because that's what coaches do. We hold you accountable. Yeah. We're not just going to sit there and let you lie to us. You could do that to maybe a therapist. I'm sorry, therapists. I love you guys out there. But that's what it is.
Yeah. Thank you. So, Bernadette, can you I know we shared a lot, but how can people connect with you?
Well, I appreciate this conversation. I'm glad I got to meet you, Christelle, and Christelle. I love this conversation. So if you like this style, you can head to crushyourmoneygoals.com. There you can see where the book is available. And I also have a free guide. If you go to crushyourmoneygoals.com/free guide, I have where you can start. So if you're like, okay, I'm in debt, I don't know where to start, I give you literally 30 places that you can start your financial plan today with specific recommendations on tools and resources and stuff like that. And then if you just like hanging out on social media, I'm primarily on LinkedIn and YouTube at Bernadette Joy, spelled with the word get.
Okay, Bernadette Joy. Thank you. And Coach Bell,
yeah, I found her on Instagram, and I was really impressed. You know, she wears so many hats. You know, you guys are just hearing the author, but she's an investor. She's a coach. She's a journalist. I was like, whoa. This woman is amazing. I need to hear more. I need to learn more. So your book is definitely getting purchased because I really believe you have more than Millionaire, worth information in there. So this book may not cost $1 million, but the knowledge that comes in it, to me, from what I've even heard from you and just seeing you promote, is definitely worth it. So I would say, you guys, just as I'm about to do, invest in yourself by purchasing the right tools, which this book is a right tool. You want to get out of debt, you want to become financially free, invest in yourself by purchasing the right tool. The book, I can't wait to get it. Crush Your Money Goals. Come on now.
Yeah, so yeah, she said it all. Bernadette, thank you so much. Do you have anything else to add?
Oh, I think you're both just so fabulous, and also your style is on point today, so thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Not showing up, but be fabulous while you're here, so thank you.
Thank you so much. So you guys, if y'all have any question, make sure to connect with her. She have, like she said, the book. Go ahead and purchase that book, and it will tell you everything you need. And then you can also book her as a coach. So yeah, thank y'all so much. I really do appreciate it. And Bernadette, thank you. I hope you have an amazing day, and I will continue to follow you, and hopefully we could stay more connected. And I would love for you to come back whenever you are free, so we could get more of your stories out there.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, y'all.
Bye. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Bye.
And if y'all have any question for either one of them, they left their stuff, and I will put it in the description box too as well, so you can reach out to them. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and our YouTube channel. We're still trying to work on our YouTube channel, so I would love for y'all to follow us and support us. And make sure you click the link if you want to support us in any way possible. Thank you, guys.